Hello, fight fans. James Smith from In This Corner TV from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where earlier tonight, Canelo Alvarez wins the split decision, controversial split decision over Erislandy Lara. Also on the card, Abner Mares off the stunning first-round knockout to Johnny Gonzalez. He gets a solid unanimous decision win over Jonathan Oquendo. He's cut along the way. After all the action, post-fight reaction.
En los primeros rounds estaba agarrando la distancia, no fallaba algunos golpes por lo mismo, porque estaba moviéndose mucho, pero después empecé a conectar los golpes abajo, ¿no? Los golpes abajo, empecé a conectar combinaciones, pero fue parte de lo que teníamos planeado, ¿no? Ir siempre presionando la pelea.
You know, the first couple of rounds, I was just trying to cut the distance, and then just try to catch up to him. And finally, I think after a few rounds, I was able to start working the body very well, and that opened up the combinations, and I started throwing combinations.
I have two more. Did you feel like you were able to cut the ring off as well as you should have? You know, when he was running around like that, did you feel like you cut the ring as well as you should have?
Bueno, eso es lo que estaba haciendo, ¿no? Pero entre más lo hacía, más se movía. Hubo un round que le agarré un golpe con lo que lo corté y todavía más, empezó a correr más todavía. Pero bueno, yo hice mi pelea, ¿no? Presionando la pelea, tirando los golpes. Las combinaciones más fuertes las tiré yo.
That was the game plan, to cut off the ring. And while I started doing that a little bit, he started running and running more. When I caught him and cut him with that uppercut, he started moving around and he did more. But I think that, I threw the strong combinations, the harder punches. And I think that's what, ultimately wanted.
Ya no sé qué puedo decirle. Hice mi trabajo perfecto y fue tremenda mierda lo que hicieron.
Said, I did my job and it was disgraceful what they did to me.
Creo que ese juez que vio la pelea de la parte que ganó Canelo, creo que ese juez estaba vendido, no sé, estaba comprado.
Yeah. Whatever judge had a 9-3, I can't get, there's not words that can explain for him to have Canelo winning 9-3.
Pero bueno, nos vemos la próxima. Espero que se dé la revancha y vamos a ver quién es mejor. Ya lo demostré y sigue haciendo el trabajo.
He says we got to do an immediate rematch. I already showed I was better than him, and I'll show it again any other night. He knows he lost in his heart. Everyone knows it.
Oscar está aquí detrás de mí, está consciente de lo que pasó. Él fue boxeador y él sabe que ahí también le robó la pelea, está consciente.
Yeah, Oscar, who's a great fighter, he was a boxer. He's been robbed before. He knows it was a robbery. He knows it in his heart, so does Canelo.
When announced the first score, 115-113 for Lara, okay, I said okay. Then the second score for the Canelo, same score, 115-113. But then when they said 117-111, we all got happy because we say finally somebody saw the fight the way it went. And then when they said Canelo, my heart dropped. I mean, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack actually, because there was no way in the world Lara's now lost 9 rounds to 3. That was ridiculous. This judge needed to be thrown out and never to judge anything, not even a kid's amateur fight.
Let's talk first off of what we know. What Lara did good. He did everything good. In fact, I've never seen a fighter miss as badly as Canelo did tonight. And maybe Liston against Ali when it was Clay, their first fight. But what would was there anything you weren't happy with in Lara's performance at all?
I was very happy with everything that Erislandy did. Everything you saw tonight was the way we train in the gym. Lateral movement, side to side, keep the jab in his face. At some point sit down and start throwing combinations and stepping around, make him miss. And not only just make him miss, but make him miss bad. And that's what he did. He made him look like an amateur. He took it in Cuban school exactly the way that we say we was going to do it.
Well, one of the problems, I think, with Cuban school with these judges is, we have a scoring app, Boxing Fight Night, but there's 4 ways you score a fight. Clean punching, effective aggressiveness. They all know that, but then there's ring generalship and defense. Two things that I said on the Countdown show that Lara would dominate, and he did, but for some reason, either they chose not to or don't know how to figure that part of boxing out.
Well, here's the thing. They want a rematch with Floyd Mayweather badly. We know this. But come on, man. My guy worked just as hard as Canelo did. and it's not right. We all have a job to do. That's just our job. And this is why people are turning boxing away. They're turning away from boxing because of bullshit like this. It shouldn't be in this sport.
Yeah, I had it 6-5-1 in rounds, 115-114 for Erislandy Lara. And I don't have a problem with it going the other way, very close. I felt like a lot of the rounds were really close. But in the end, if you're giving Canelo rounds for aggression, it has to be effective aggression. And I didn't think all those rounds Canelo was coming forward, he was always effective. There were rounds, I felt like he was actually effective only when Lara let him be effective, in the case, like, I felt at times Lara took the rounds off. Like, I felt like he wanted to regroup and he took some rounds off, because at a certain point midway through the fight, Lara slowed down, and I started...
After that cut.
Yeah, I started thinking the cut, the body shots, because Canelo was throwing some good body shots, maybe he's slowing down, but then he kind of regrouped and picked it back up. So, maybe he was just taking a few rounds off. In the end, it's so competitive, it's hard to pick a clear-cut winner, but there were things that both guys were doing really well, and that gets lost in all of this, because I think the general consensus is the aggression of Canelo should have won him the fight, but unless it's effective, you're not really watching anything productive from Canelo's part in those rounds.
Yeah, and I think if there was something compelling about the fight, it was a good fight, but I think the most compelling thing was how badly at times Lara made Canelo, look and miss. I mean, shots that, again, I haven't seen a fighter missed that many shots since Sonny Liston was fighting, Clay. It was then Cassius Clay. It was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. If there's one thing I could criticize Lara about at times was he could have done a better job of countering when he had him missing so badly, But I understand Lara wanting to leave the pocket and kind of forcing Canelo to reset. So I understand from that perspective too, but I felt like maybe he could have done a better job as at times leave the pocket completely, and at times make him miss, make him pay, and then leave the pocket completely. I felt like Lara has enough speed and talent to counter you correctly, and I felt like he was playing it safe too much at times, where he just was happy to make a miss and reset and restart, which could be said, hey, he still won the fight. For me, he still won the fight, 115-114, but there were things that he could have done maybe a little bit better, and that could have convinced more people, I felt. And Canelo, on the other hand, same thing. There was things he could have improved on, because a lot of the aggression was not effective. A lot of the time he was just coming forward like a mummy and not even setting anything up.
Very one-dimensional at times.
Very one-dimensional, not even throwing a jab, but just coming up, throwing loopy shots from the outside, and you're not going to land on an Erislandy Lara, a guy of that pedigree, with those kind of punches.
I think more than anything, Lara let it slip away.
Exactly. He just, the foot movement was there. I knew that would be there. He's a great boxer. I think where he came up short at tonight was just not throwing enough punches to show that, even though his generalship in the ring was good, his boxing, the punches is ultimately how you win a fight. So I think he didn't throw enough shots to win the fight tonight.
As a fighter, and you're an aggressive fighter, and that's the number one. The number one thing they score is clean punching and effective aggressiveness, two things you're really good at. But do you think about that when you're in a fight? Do you think about what the scorecards might read, what I need to do? Is that something that goes on in your head?
What I need to do, not the scorecards, but what I need to do. Usually coming back to the corner, my team will tell me what's going on as far as the score goes, but in the ring, it's just about, like you said, being aggressive and showing that you're aggressive. There are times in the fight, if I'm moving too much, I'll say, hey, you're moving too much. You need to step forward, So along with generalship in the ring just comes, knowing where you are and knowing when to punch, when not to punch, offense and defense. I think Lara just had too much defense and not enough offense tonight. Yeah,
I think he took his foot off the accelerator, especially after the cut, and let it slip away. But have you ever seen a fighter miss as badly as Canelo was? I mean, swing and a miss, swing and a miss.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Mario Lopez said, who was he sparring with? You know, he was swinging as if he didn't know that Lara could move the way he did. And Lara, with his legs, is beautiful. On the other hand, you got Canelo throwing hard, heavy shots. Even though those shots weren't landing, I'm sure the judges were looking at that and saying, hey, this guy's really wanting this fight, and he's swinging hard,
Lara's a boxer. He's not the kind of guy who's going to sit and go toe-to-toe with anybody, no matter who it is. But, when you score, look, when you look at the score sheet, Canelo landed 24 headshots.
Yeah.
24 headshots in 12 rounds. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, the defense and the ring generalship was absolutely a thing and the movement by...
And he made him look like a child.
Did any of the body shots of Canelo have any effect on
Lara? Not at
Lara?
all. Didn't do anything.
What about the cut?
He was catching most of the
Yeah,
shots.
he was. What about the cut?
The cut wasn't nothing. Bob Santos did a great job in stopping the cut. Lara knew that, he didn't have to worry about the cut. So, you know, he did what he just kept doing what he had to do. You know,
Well,
I mean, you know, I got to go back and look at the tape again. You know, maybe there's always some things that you can change, but from what I saw and from what everybody saw, I mean, everybody that I've talked to so far has said that Lara won the fight. I haven't seen that one guy yet to say that Canelo won.
It sounds like what you're trying to say is really, even in a rematch, he's not going to do much better than he did because he fought the fight. He went in with a game plan, stuck to it, fought it, executed it, but got screwed. And that's what you're saying.
And I mean, and why should we have to change anything?
Yeah.
If it fits, you wear it. If it doesn't, then you have to make changes.
You know what I like about this fight, though, is the way it was made. Lara came to the press conference after Canelo's fight, went right up to him, and to Canelo's credit, he accepted the challenge. I love when fights are made like that.
I thought about that during the match because, I felt that Canelo won the fight, and near the end, I really thought Canelo just took charge of everything, and I began to think to myself, Lara really put himself on the line by coming up to the podium like that, and he didn't show enough in the fight, in my opinion, didn't show enough for someone who would come up and call someone out like that. And it was going through my head. So, hey, you know,
when you call a guy out, you got to take it.
You got to really step up a little bit more than he did. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up next for you. You got a fight lined up.
August 16th, man. It's coming. StubHub Center, August 16th. I'm excited about it. Carson, California. And it's going to be Kell Brook, 32-0. 28-year-old from Sheffield, England.
Pretty popular guy over there. We don't know that much about him over here.
He's a popular guy over there, and people inside of the boxing world knows that he's just been the contender for the IBF title. He's been the mandatory for a very long time, and he's finally going to come over here and get a shot.
What do you think that, at this point Canelo, should do? One of the things that I've said all along, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I have a real problem with guys rehydrating 15, 17, 18 pounds. I'm not for that. My generation, we weighed in the day of the fight. But it just seems like there's still some things with him. I mean, he's a hard-punching guy, but it is just a situation with guys like Mayweather and Lara. Styles make fights. They're just going to give him guys with movement, guys that are slick are going to give Lara problems. I mean, Canelo problems.
Yeah. I mean, styles make fights, Smitty. You know that already. And there's always a kryptonite kind of style to every other kind of style, And so, I think for the Canelos of the world, these guys who have to plant their feet to throw hard punches because they want to throw hard punches, the guys that will always give them trouble is those guys that can keep them off balance with some slick movement and crafty boxing, So, I don't think you always put Canelo with guys like that because you're going to risk him getting beat. So, I think a solid, entertaining fight for Canelo would be Miguel Cotto. I think nobody would complain about a fight between Canelo and Miguel Cotto. Lara has to go back to the drawing board, and unfortunately for him, he's always been a guy who's been avoided, and I think now it's going to give people more reason to avoid him, and hopefully not. Because,
that is unfortunate because you've been screwed on decisions, but you talked your way back into rematches, which is smart. Maybe he should take a course from you. Study the Malignaggi way of getting even.
I won't take no for an answer. I'm pretty stubborn. But hopefully Lara doesn't get punished too badly for this defeat because he's certainly a world-class fighter, and he's got 2 losses on his record, which could have easily been wins.
And I think there won't be, but there should be a rematch in this one. But we're going to see. I think we're going to see the big push for Cotto and Canelo.
I think there should be a rematch, but I think there's a better chance of hell freezing over than this fight having a rematch happening, which is a shame.
So 2 of the judges had it 115, 113 either side, but the one judge 117 to 111. Let me try to help this judge out. Either way, okay, that's where I'm going to go with it. I got it. Yeah.
I was getting all excited about it.
I know, me too. Okay, I'm not going to mention names. I don't need. No need. So 2 of the judges had it 115 to 113 either side. I don't have a problem with that. I had the fight dead even. But the one judge, 117 to 111. Let's talk about scoring. How do you score a prize fight? There's 4 criteria. Clean, hard punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense. Those last 2 areas, Lara dominated those 2, as I said he would in the countdown show. Again, I don't have a problem, 1 point, 2 points either way, or a draw as I had it. But come on, we have to start learning how to award these great fighters for what they do best. It's not just about chasing. In fact, I never saw as many clean misses from a fighter as we saw from Canelo Alvarez tonight. I mean, you talk about swing and a miss, swing and a miss. What's the Dodgers pitcher's name? Clayton Kershaw. I mean, that's what it looked like. I have never seen that many misses. And again, I actually thought in some ways that Lara made Canelo look worse than Floyd did. Now, to Canelo's credit, one thing, he didn't gas out. He didn't run out of gas. He came on in the end. And you know what? It's that, that old thing about you got to take it from a champion. Well, both of these guys are really champions, but Lara was the one that was defending titles in there tonight, if there were titles on the line. The bottom line is that this fight was dead even. We should have a rematch. We won't, because I think it's going to be Canelo and Cotto as soon as they can make that fight. Guys with movement, guys that are slick, will always give Canelo Alvarez problems unless he learns how to make some adjustments inside the squared circle. So, Canelo, if you ever face me, you're going to have problems, baby, because I'm slick. Anyway, great night of action from the MGM Grand. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. 117, 111? Get out of here.